All right, y'all. I am back on to talk about Beverly Hills Reunion Part 2 and 3. Okay, so this is going to be very quick because I feel like we didn't need 4 parts of reunion, y'all. So, again, I'm Shay Renee Online, and if you're here, you know we talk about food, fitness, and reality TV. So, let's get the show started. All right, y'all. And if you're new here, you know that we always like to make sure we clear the air real quick and make sure y'all understand that this is just my raggedy ass opinion and nobody really gives a damn but you if you're watching, and we can key together. But just as a quick reminder,
Good for me. That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you?
And I yell.
Do you not
How
get
do
it?
you know what's
That's
good
my
for
opinion.
me?
so this is just my opinion, and we're going to keep it on that, okay? So Beverly Hills Reunion Part 2, okay? We're going to start there. So it starts where, recaps Erica talking about Tom in a good light, then bringing up the cheating allegations and all those different things, which, I constantly feel like this season was just a way for her to kind of paint him in a different light. Now she needs to talk about him being, having dementia, or he's just incompetent, he can't have done all these things, right? And to make him look like a bad husband, like now he's a bad husband, he was cheating on her, he was doing this, he was doing that. But cry me a river, dick face, I really don't care. Like you feeling sorry for yourself throughout all of this, and that's why I really cannot stomach watching all of these reunions. And that's probably why I kind of subliminally am like taking forever to get these reviews done, because Erica is just insufferable and I don't even understand. I don't get it. So moving right along, Andy asked, why does she hide that she was in a broken marriage? And when she constantly painted a rosy picture of Tom to everyone else, but now all of a sudden she's saying he's cheating, and then she left him, and she replies, no one's marriage is perfect. She feels she's highlighted the best of him. First of all, it don't seem like you had too many best points with him, because you have painted this man to be such a villain in y'all relationship. Like, you've just been hiding behind despair all this time, encompassed with lavish things, and you were just suffering through all the lavish things he was doing for you. Girl, get out of here, Erica. We do not care. We do not feel sorry for you at all. Okay, ma'am? Nobody does. Especially me. I'm number one on the list of people that don't feel sorry for you. Okay? So Andy asked, why didn't you leave sooner? And then Erica says, where was I going? Girl, to the other rich man's house that's paying for stuff for you right now, sis. The fuck? We know you're getting money from somebody else. All right. And if you hopping on one old man's dick, you going to take your pussy and hop it on somebody else's. Okay. You're not new to this. You're true to this, sis. Stop playing around. We already know what the deal is. Okay. So the Andy says, where weren't you going? You're on a hit TV show. You have a career. And then Erica cuts him off and says, hold on, which she kept saying, hold on, so many times throughout this whole situation. I was just like, this is starting to look a little contrived. Like, are y'all acting? I don't get it. Because how is she able to just be cutting off the damn interviewer? Just answer the damn question, girl, and move on. Next question. That's what you need to do. Stick to the program. Okay? So Erica cuts him off, says, hold on, I wasn't in charge of my finances. Then she talks about how she bought everything on a credit card, and she would give Tom her housewife checks even, and that she really just didn't have access to the money. So she didn't know what was going on with the money. She didn't know where it went, what he was doing with it, none of that. Okay. I went to Andy to ask her about that daggone $20 million. Apparently he was allegedly giving her every month, or whatever the case may be. I don't know what's going on. And then the $20,000 for $40,000 for the glam squad child. It all just sounds like a whole bunch of BS to me. So I don't know what was going on. She says Tom was sinking, not necessarily the ship, talking about the business. So I guess she's talking about his mindset. And then she was talking about how, she says she's being held accountable for half the debt, because Andy asked her, wouldn't you have gotten half? So why are you like so oblivious to what's going on with your finances? You should be aware of what's going on, because if things were still well and you left him, you would get half of his money. And she was like, well, I don't know about any of that. She said, I guess so, because I'm getting half the debt. So, it is what it is. So Andy asked Erica, why did she lie to Garcelle about Tom being faithful, then came out about his infidelity later. And she said because of who it was that he was cheating with, apparently, allegedly. And she said because and then she said there were 3 mistresses, and she texted one back from Tom's flip phone. First of all, they keep talking about this flip phone. Do they even make those anymore? Like, I know they got this new little thing now that's out, but I'm like, she keep on talking about this old flip phone. At some point, you got to get rid of those phones because you can't even use them. So I'm not really falling for this whole flip phone bullshit, okay? So I don't know who told them to come up with that story, but they should have left that behind. The Andy asked Kyle her thoughts on Erica and Tom, and she just said she knew things were off. Then they went into how people questioned her being able to move out, but she didn't have access to money. So how you can't move out? How you don't have access to money, but you able to move out, get your own place, and do all this stuff? So that don't even make any sense. Then apparently she was spotted getting on a jet wearing a Cartier ring, and yet she's saying she's broke. So 2 and 2 ain't adding up to 4, sis. Not in this situation. And she claims she didn't pay for any of it. Someone else did. So who's the someone else? Your friends that generous that they just paying for houses for you and whatnot, and taking you on jet trips, and you wearing Cartier rings? I'd be pawning that stuff so I can pay for my life. Like, literally live. So anyway, there was a question of if Erica knew what she knows. If she knew what she knows now, would she have married Tom? And she went all around the damn mulberry bush to answer the damn question. She said she's not really answering the question, but she pretended like she did. And she said, Tom is not the man that she married right now. He is not now the man that she married. So I basically know she wouldn't have married him. Okay. In my opinion, allegedly, and all that stuff. So she says she's at a place that she doesn't know who she married. Yes, you did. You married an old man with a lot of money, and now the well has run dry, and you're pissed off because you didn't really know that the well was running dry the way that it was. And now you're trying to get moist and watered somewhere else before it's way too late for you, because you're already 50 and old at this point, because let's just face it, you're no longer pinup girl status. Okay. So you got to get in where you fit in right now, sis. It is what it is. That's how the cookie done crumbled. So then Andy asked everyone who wants to know if Tom, basically everyone wants to know if Tom ripped those people off. And Erica says she hopes Tom didn't do what is being alleged about him taking the funds. Ma'am, it's not alleged no more. He definitely did it. Definitely did. Watch I keep telling y'all, the housewife and the hustler, he all on the voicemail. It's very evident that this man is shisty and shady. Okay. So then they go into Garcelle. I believe this is actually in Reunion Part 3. Yes. So this is Reunion. So that's the end of that. About Andy asking if Tom actually did it and do she believe it and all that stuff. So then they go, this is episode Reunion Part 3, where it starts off where they're talking about Kyle and Kathy's relationship. And then Garcelle, it goes into Garcelle forgetting her sister's name. I'm going to skim through this stuff because, it's nobody cares. Everybody really want to talk about Erica. Okay. So they try to talk about Kyle and Kathy just to kind of, I guess, save up airtime, because this is where I really feel like they spent way too much time on Kathy, and she's just a friend. I get it. She's the rich bitch. They wanted her to be the HBIC on the show or whatever the case may be, but she's not a full-time cast member. So to spend so much time on her, I really thought was ridiculous. And I'm spending too much time on her now, talking about how much time she shouldn't have gotten on the show. But anyway, I digress. So they go over Kyle and Kathy's relationship, how they hadn't talked for years, blah, blah, blah. Then they talk about how the kids got them back together, and then Kathy called first, and Kumbaya, they talking again. Okay. Kathy ain't even watch American Woman, but she was mad at her sister thinking she said some shit about her mama, and she really didn't say shit about their mama because Kathy loved her mom so much. She don't even talk to her mom's friends because it's just too much for her. And I get it, you know, and I love how Kathy eats with TV trays. Shout out to TV trays. My computer's on one right now doing this review. So yeah, me and my husband eat on TV trays too. So I can relate to her in that. And it's nice to see rich people doing regular shit. Okay. So moving right along, they're besties. Then they go into talking about Crystal because Crystal been quiet as a daggone church mouse this whole daggone reunion, and I forgot her ass was even there if it wasn't for them kind of panning over to her here and there because she's sitting on the end of the damn couch. So anyway, they talk about, basically they're introducing Crystal. Crystal talks about her being bulimic. She talks about her culture and how she really loved that everybody really loved seeing her culture, trying different foods from her culture, different things like that. They talked about her working for the escort service, which I thought was really interesting. I really could never see her doing something like that. So you just never know who you're dealing with. Then they go into the whole leather pants situation and putting the pants in the Watch What Happens Live place and all that stuff. And then they talk about the coat situation with Sutton and the importance of that, because she said, you know, it wasn't just the coat per se. It was, you know, she has body image issues, and that goes into the bulimia and things like that. So for her she really felt traumatized that somebody saw her naked, because she's not really comfortable with her body, and everybody else is glorifying her body, saying, you girl, you look good. Like, why don't you show off your body? But she's not that confident in herself yet. So that situation really wasn't a good situation for her, and it really opened up. It's like being on this show has really made her think more about her body issues. But I think that being around the ladies, they've kind of lifted her up a bit, and she's feeling a little bit better about herself now. But I think that being on the show and seeing how everybody's so into clothes and body image and all this stuff, it really shined a light on her own individual issues, which led into the situation with Sutton going how it did. So then they talk about how Sutton said she didn't see color, and they compared it to Kathy basically saying the same thing. But Crystal says it's not the same because of the way Sutton handled it versus Kathy. Kathy looked at it as like more of a teaching moment. And she was discussing how, you know, her and Michael Jackson grew up together, and she was saying that she didn't really see color, but she realizes that is not, that's you can't think like that. And she now understands and has been since educated on how that makes people feel, that people of color, when you respond that way. And I believe Sutton is more educated on that now. I think some people sometimes when you know, in a situation with black people and white people or whatever, white people don't want to offend us. So they're like, no, I don't see color, meaning like, you know, I'm looking at you as a person. When they feel like that's what they're trying to say, we don't take it like that. And I think it's just a conversation, kind of like what Garcelle had with Kyle when they cleared the air or whatever. And Kyle looked at it as a teaching moment as well. And so I think everybody is being more educated, getting more comfortable with each other's culture. So moving right along, then Crystal talks about the situation with her dad and a racial situation that happened with her dad that was really traumatic for her, and how her father really didn't explain to her what was happening in that moment. But as she grew up, she realized what was really going on. And just, you know, remembering how humble her father was and how he really dealt with situations, and just how proud of him she was. Then they go into how people on social media throwing racial slurs at her and all these different things. So this was a really challenging season for her, but she talked about how being around the ladies was really a positive thing for her throughout all of the negativity. So it's really nice that she was able to find a rose in the concrete with what was going on this season. So then they talk about Lisa and her dresses, how Andy told her to get the damn dresses out of the damn crate. And so she says she has them somewhere now where they preserve dresses and whatnot. Then they talk about Dorit and her fashions, which nobody cares. I feel like Dorit really wasn't into fashion. And I continue to say that she wasn't into it until she saw Erica was into it. But Garcelle says that Dorit is the most fashionable one on the show. But, you know, whatever, that's her opinion and she's entitled to it. So then we get into Andy starting to question Erica. So Andy starts questioning Erica and he asks, who is for you and who is against you? Okay. And Erica says she's keeping score and she is going to keep it to herself. I'm like, who gives a damn? Erica can't do nothing to these ladies on this show. She the brokest one on the stage. So I don't understand why any of them are even scared of her or not or are afraid to even speak up when it comes to her. Like, bitch, you're broke. And even if you did have money, I got money too, and I can smack you with these dollars. Don't play with me. Like, you're not going to talk to me like I'm anything. We on level playing field on this show. And I'm going to say what I got to say, but you're not going to disrespect me, and you damn sure not going to bully me on this stage. How about that? You can put that in your pipe and smoke it, Miss Erica. So anyway, Kyle says they were in a difficult position and she knows there are things she couldn't say. She understands that Erica couldn't say a lot of things, but she does feel like there were a lot of things that Erica could have said that she just decided not to say. And that right there can make it very challenging and lead people to kind of think whatever they want about her position in this whole thing and how she felt actually about the victims or whatever. So Erica goes on to say that it really bothered her, the scene with Kyle, Mauricio, PK, and Dorit, where she felt like they were kind of laughing at her pain or whatever. And Kyle was like, no, that's not the case. Mauricio was even saying that he believes you. He knows that, you didn't have anything to do with it. And then she says, and then Erica says, me and PK have made so many strides in our relationship. I just really was bothered by how he was acting. And then Dorit says PK and Kyle said PK and Maurice are like brothers. Like, they're always having this laughing banter back and forth. It was never anything to hurt you. And Dorit kind of signs off on that as well. But whatever, Erica, you gonna have your own thoughts about it. Listen, you out here getting clowned in these streets. It is what it is. Like, your husband is playing with people's money, and don't nobody play around. People don't like when people play with their money. So you gonna get talked about. It is what it is. So Garcelle asked, why didn't Erica understand that they would be concerned about being grouped into the story? Stories like this about her. And that Erica goes on to say that there's nothing for them to be concerned about because there's nothing that legally ties them to her, which is a lie, because there was a whole situation with Lisa where people were saying that she invested in Erica's company or something like that, and how she was being named or incriminated in the whole situation, which I feel like Lisa probably did something where she invested in Erica's company, quote unquote. This is alleged. This is just what I'm thinking happened. If she did give her any money, she was trying to find a way to be able to write it off, to give Erica money so that she would have money, while all this legal stuff is going on, kind of what Sutton was trying to do to help her broke ass out. So then Lisa Rinna got bit in the ass, because it came back to her, and now she's being named in the situation. So you can't minimize how these ladies look in this process. Like, I think Erica is just so on her high horse that everybody should just kiss her ass and never remove their lips from her butt cheeks, because she is King Dingling and nothing can happen to them as long as they kiss her ass. Bitch, that's not reality. Okay? And as you can see, Exhibit A, Lisa Rinna, this stuff can happen where they're getting roped into your bullshit. So you need to be cognizant of how this affects everybody else around you. It's not all about you. She's acting like this shit is just all about her, and it's not. And people see that. Nobody's blind. So then Sutton says she really got upset because she wanted to know what was going on, because they didn't know anything. And Erica says she's been straight up and they could have come to her. What am I going to come to you about? Because you lying left and right. You talking about people in snowstorms coming to get people out of cars, and they've been in the car for 12 hours. How the hell you know that he was in the car for 12 hours, Erica? How you know? Did they have a timer on from the time he drove and stopped and was unconscious? Yeah, it's a lot of lies flying around here, and you catching all of them. No, don't believe you. So then Sutton goes into saying how when the article was coming out, Erica kind of, flew the scene she left. And she says, Well, that was because I had a falling out with Garcelle when Garcelle had said, Erica had revealed to them that Tom was calling her every day. No, you use that as a way to exit. That didn't really mean anything. And if you had to know that the article was coming out, even though you may not have known when it was coming out, you knew something was coming out pertaining to your situation with Tom. So again, you can't tell these people how to feel about you and your legal troubles because these are very rich women and they don't want nobody coming after their coins because of your bullshit. So Erica says, how do you think I feel? My husband is allegedly frauding children, widows, and burn victims. And Andy says, well, how do you feel? Because clearly don't nobody know how you feel, sis. You around here acting hunky-dory, like Kathy says, and acting like your shit don't stink. And so, Erica says, I feel horrible. Of course, I feel bad. The lady said, well, you haven't mentioned the victims. You show no remorse. And then Kyle even talks about Erica's social media, saying that she needs to portray a different image. Like the whole sex kitten thing is just not working for her right now. And Erica's like, well, I'm not taking down my social media. I have to pay the bills. Like it is what it is. And, Garcelle is even like, yeah, you do need to clean up your image. And Lisa Rinna said, yeah, I agree. But, she's going to do whatever she wants to do, continuing to keep her lips on Erica's butthole. Like, I just don't understand why these women are just so afraid to speak up when it comes to her. And even Crystal was like, you know what? I just feel like if, she said, if Rob ever did this to me, I would just be so angry. And I just really, where is your anger towards Tom? And Erica was like, what do you mean? Where is my anger towards Tom? Like, she got pissed that Crystal was even asking her that. And then she goes into saying, you don't know what I will do and all this, that, and the third. And Andy says, well, what will you do? And she said, well, you just have to see or something like that. And then she goes into rambling about Tom and how she going to do this, that, and the third, really being vague. And then she turns to Crystal and says, am I angry enough for you? And I'm like, wow, you just continue to let her son you. Like, if y'all don't know what that means, bully you. Like, just really just, I don't know. I'm just waiting on the report to come out that Erica has a story on all of these women being in some sort of prostitution ring or something that they holding up. Like, they got to have something really, she got to have something really big on them. I'm just looking for something real bad that she got on them. And that's why they continue to let her bitch them. Like, she is like not even physically bitch slapping them, but she's constantly bitch slapping them and treating them like her minions. And I cannot for the life of me understand why they allow her to have this position. It's not like she's Kathy Hilton rich or even Sutton rich. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't have anything going for her. She's not so fun of a friend or a great person to be around. Like, she's cold as ice. And frankly, I wouldn't even want to be around her unless I had to on this show. She's not a fun person at all. And I don't give a damn how much of the life of the party she could potentially be. You will never talk to me the way you talking to these girls. Never. Never in a million years. I'm so sorry. I would never let any of my friends basically bitch me or disrespect me the way that Erica does with these ladies. It's just uncalled for and unacceptable at this point. So, I mean, whatever, y'all. We done dragged this whole damn reunion out to 4 episodes, child, which I feel like this could have been 3 hours tops. It could have been an hour and 15 minutes for the first episode and an hour and 15 minutes for the next one, and just made it a 2-episode thing. Like I said, I think we spent too much time on Kathy and Kyle's relationship. That could have been like one little scene and done. I feel like we talked about Sutton stuff, frankly, too much. Lisa in these dresses, Dorit talking about nothing. Yeah, we should talk about Crystal, but I feel like we spent way too much time on that too. Like, all of this was dragged out for no reason. But anyway, we'll see what happens on Wednesday for part 4, child. We can just get this shit over with and wrap this season up of Erica being a bully and everybody kissing her ass because I'm tired of it. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.